the Indian Ocean 2004, Tohoku 2011, Haiti 2021, and Turkey, Syria in 2023. Earthquakes are unpredictable and potentially devastating. What can you do to prepare for this violent force of nature? First, what not to do. Pick up the nearest child and run through the house, using him or her as a shield as you step on broken glass, dodge falling rafters, and trip over the bodies of your fallen comrades. This won't work because A, the child is unlikely to function well as a shield, and B, this is not safe disaster response. You should be serious about earthquake preparation and survival, and preparation, which I just said twice, since preparation is the key. It's not as simple as getting under a doorway. You'll find out why later in the video. Or just drop cover and hold on. Not always the safest option. You need to think about hazards analysis, situational awareness, equipment, food, and behavioral response. All of these areas are important and none of them can be ignored. Before we move on, see if you can answer this. During an earthquake, you should A. Stand under a bedroom doorway because it's safer than the bathroom doorway. B. Avoid moving too far from where you are. C. Stay as close to the nearest bookcase as possible, creating a triangle of life. Think about it, the answer will be coming up shortly. Hazards analysis is just understanding the threats around you. If you live in the ring of fire, you should expect some heat. Do you live in a flood zone, near wildfires, 2 miles from a nuclear power plant, on the lip of a volcano, or in the Pacific Northwest? Think of hazards in terms of physical, biological, and chemical. In the links below, you'll find more in-depth resources on hazards analysis, which is beyond the scope of this video. Situational awareness is a term used in self-defense. It basically means knowing where you are, who's there, what's there, and the likelihood of threats. For an earthquake, you should ask yourself, who's around you? How old are they? What kind of physical condition are they in? Are they calm or prone to panic, risking injury to themselves or to you? Is a tall bookcase displaying your dagger collection 5 feet from your bed? Here's a checklist of some situational do's and don'ts. Do formulate a plan of what to do at home, at work, at the store, in your car, or wherever you are. Formulate a specific plan for specific areas, the living room, bedroom, bathroom, etc. Size up where you are in terms of falling objects, exits, obstructions, and hazards. Look up, down, and all around. Keep your home clutter-free to minimize obstacles, limit the number of falling objects, and make it easier to find emergency equipment and fallen grandmas. Secure all furniture to the walls, drilling into the stud. In other words, avoid drywall anchors. Keep doorways and exits clear. Don't hang mirrors, Viking swords, ceiling fans, or anything else over your bed. Don't situate your bed near a window. Don't hang mirrors or fragile items in hallways. The broken glass will literally come back to bite you in the foot. When it comes to the kitchen especially, don't keep sharp or breakable items in high cupboards. Consider using baby latches to secure the drawers and doors. So here's the answer to the quiz question. During an earthquake, you should generally stay put, as moving increases the chances of injury. Doorways are generally not safe places to be. More on this in a bit. And the triangle of life is a highly disputed idea, which we'll discuss in a bit more detail later. Before we move on, another question. After an earthquake, should you A. Flip a light switch so you can see what's around you, B. Light a candle because it's safer than electricity, or C. None of the above? I want to just point out a few things. It does you no good to have all your equipment in a car while you're in a second-story apartment, or in the garage where you can't access it, or worse, scattered throughout the house in so many random places you don't know where to find it. It might be a good idea to keep a running inventory of what you have and where you have it. Keep that information handy on your phone and/or in a notepad strategically placed in different locations throughout the house. Finally, it's important to do an earthquake drill monthly or as needed. The drill should incorporate equipment gathering or at least a visual inspection of where the equipment is located. Make sure your 5-year-old hasn't commandeered your hard hat for use as a bike helmet, or someone borrowed your crescent wrench and replaced it with a cheap knockoff. Here is the equipment you should have. A first aid kit, preferably on every floor of the house, in the car, boat, RV, etc. The first aid kit should contain a tourniquet and clotting gauze, such as QuikClot. Make sure you know how to use all the items and have instructions inside your kit.
The first step in an operation of this particular type is
Flashlights, rectangular ideally to prevent rolling off surfaces, headlamps for hands-free operation, and emergency candles. Lighters, waterproof matches, magnesium fire starters, different means by which you can create fire for heating and cooking purposes, which you should only use with proper ventilation and knowledge of safe use. Camp stove and fuel, footwear near the bed to avoid stepping on glass and debris, a hard hat, an emergency whistle, a life vest if you live in a flood or tsunami-prone area, batteries, an emergency radio, a solar charger, a dynamo charger, just to be sure, duct tape, hatchet, small pry bar or crowbar, a crescent wrench or a 4-in-1 gas and water shutoff tool, a basic toolbox in the house, glasses, contacts, hearing aids, oxygen, prescription, and over-the-counter medications as needed, utensils, bowls, plates, a can opener, a mask, ideally an N95 or N100 in case of dust and debris, and don't forget toilet paper and potty buckets. This might not strike you as the first consideration, but according to a seismic safety analysis in Oregon, residents of the Oregon area likely affected in the event of a Cascadia subduction zone earthquake would produce about 1,000 tons of poop per day. That's a whole lot of stink and disease. Go ahead and pause the video to make sure you didn't miss anything. When it comes to food and water, here are some general guidelines. Plan for 3 days worth, but 2 weeks or more is ideal. You need 1 gallon of water per person per day for drinking purposes. You want to have at least a 3-day food supply, and you should prioritize ready-to-eat options, canned items, and food with a longer shelf life. Here are some special considerations. Keep food accessible but in rodent-proof containers. Note expiration dates of both food and water. Keep unscented bleach to be used for disinfecting water, surfaces, and containers. Replace yearly since bleach loses its efficacy over time. Don't forget about pet food and water needs. Maintain a supply of baby formula, that is if you have a baby. And remember that salty foods can increase thirst, which can increase your water consumption, not to mention your blood pressure, which will probably be high in the event of an earthquake. In a pinch, you can tap into your water heater or toilet tank. Just ensure that the latter is sanitized if needed. Also, this kind of water is probably better for cleaning than for drinking purposes, but can serve your needs in an emergency. Here's what to do during an earthquake. In the event of a massive earthquake, the quake can last for minutes. The first minute will be more gentle P-wave shaking. Subsequent shaking will involve stronger S-waves. Stay where you are. If in a car, stay there, unless it's hazardous to do so. If outside, stay there, but away from falling structures, glass, power lines, and other hazards. If indoors, stay there. An exception would be a concrete building or an unreinforced masonry structure, both of which are liable to collapse. If you are in such a building, it might be best to not live or work there. Make plans accordingly. Obviously, if there's a fire or gas leak, you shouldn't stay put either. Drop, cover, and hold on under a sturdy table or desk. This is tried and true advice, no matter where you are. The triangle of life, the idea that you should crouch down next to furniture or a large object, is a questionable strategy and has not been recommended by the USGS or major safety organizations.
Loser!
Avoid standing under a doorway unless you live in an old adobe structure or wood-framed home. If you are unsure, consult your city, home builder, or another specialist. Modern homes have doorways that are not necessarily load-bearing or more structurally sound than any other part of the house. In addition, the door can slam into your face, break your fingers, and/or knock you over. Doorways also don't protect you from falling debris and flying steak knives. Stay away from elevators, electrical lines, stampedes of people, glass, and unsecured and falling objects. After the earthquake, The first item here answers the quiz question from before. Don't light a match or lighter, use a candle, or flip a switch until you establish that there are no signs of a gas leak. Otherwise, you risk an explosion. Make sure everyone around you is safe. Minimize phone use unless there's a true emergency, since the lines could be overloaded. Avoid shouting. This wastes energy and oxygen. Tap on walls or objects to alert rescuers, and use a whistle if you have one. Don't move around unnecessarily, as this stirs up dust and wastes energy. Avoid elevators. Expect and prepare for aftershocks. Locate your emergency equipment and first aid kit. If you smell gas, or there is another indication of a leak, like hissing, that is not coming from your cat, shut off the gas using a crescent wrench or other appropriate tool. Remember to turn 1/4 turn or 90 degrees, generally clockwise, until the valve tang is perpendicular to the gas pipe. Just be aware that it can take weeks for the gas company to reestablish service after you've turned the gas off. In the event of a gas leak, exit the home and call 911 from a safe distance. If the electrical lines are damaged or exposed, try to shut off the main breakers if you know how to do so safely. If you are within a tsunami zone, and especially if the earthquake was prolonged, as in 3 minutes or more, be prepared to evacuate to higher ground. Here are some other considerations. Know where your purse, wallet, ATM, and credit cards are and keep them accessible. Maintain a supply of cash, just in case electrical grid issues don't allow for digital transactions. Keep your car's gas tank at least 1/2 full at all times. Formulate a plan with every member of your household, family, and extended family, designating a rendezvous point or points along with an operational protocol so there's no confusion about where to go and where to meet in case you cannot reach one another. Keep emergency food and supplies in your car, along with shoes and a change of clothes in case you have to leave your home wearing a birthday suit or a silly pair of pajamas.
They are not pajamas!
Ultimately, you're going to have to do your best and forget the rest. Think about the hazards, plan ahead, purchase supplies, conduct drills, and make sure everyone you live and work with is on the same page. And lastly, I'm neither a seismologist nor disaster coordinator. I'm just giving you information that makes sense to me based on widely available online resources. Avail yourself of these resources and others in your local community to put together a plan of action that works for you and your particular circumstances. Be safe and check out this video in case you're wondering why you would even need to prepare for a massive earthquake.